Hello, Obooters from around the world. My name is Kais, and I'm 12 years old, and I live in Montreal, Canada. Welcome to our Oboot Zoom session where me and my brother and co-host, Zayd, who is 15 years old, will be interviewing our guest changemaker, Bas Dijkstra. Bas is from the Netherlands. He is the co-founder of Lazy Vegan, a company that promotes a plant-rich diet by creating delicious vegan-ready meals. Bas's work links to several sustainable development goals, especially to goal number 2, zero hunger, goal number 3, good health and well-being, and goal number 13, which is climate action. Zayd and I will ask questions to Bas about his background, his journey, his work, his skills, and his impact. So, Zayd, do you want to ask the first question?
Yeah, sure. So how big do you think like the vegan market is like as food wise or like across the world? Like do you think it matches with the other food companies which are not vegan, like the market size or no?
Vegan is growing enormously, but I think it's a tiny bit of society that is fully plant-based. I think it will be 1 to 2% worldwide, and but it's growing, and it's still niche. There's a lot of people that cut down on meat, but really cutting down on eggs and milk and every animal ingredient. That's for many people still too much, and yeah, so it's niche, but it's growing really fast.
Nice.
So, on Project Drawdown Research, they rank plant rich diets as one of the most effective climate solutions. Is this why you started Lazy Vegan?
Um, I became aware that plant-based food is indeed good for the climate, or indeed, like eating meat is really impactful for the planet, and so this other guy, my co-founder, he started Lazy Vegan, and I joined him. And but I think one of the big motivations is indeed that the climate problem we've got together, and I think I can make impact by making people enthusiastic about our delicious meals, which are fully plant-based. Yeah.
What do you think motivates people like the most to become vegan? Like the main thing that people see and they're like, oh, I want to turn vegan after seeing it.
I think there's three motivations for people. The first is an egoistic one, where people see their own performance and their health improves when you start cutting down on meat and milk and animal proteins. That's mainly like masculine sporty people that start to realize it. They watch the Game Changers on Netflix and they really get affected directly, like, oh, I'm also gonna cut down. And so top sporty people. So that's one motivation. The second motivation is animal welfare, and you see a lot of traditionally left people. Those were perceived as soft by the majority of society, but I think it's really true. They believe that you should take care of animals, and the current industry that we produce meat is really terrible, and also how we produce milk and eggs, it's really not at the level you want to treat animals as we should. And then the second or the third motivation is a climate one. We start to realize that the impact of creating a lot of animal ingredients as food costs is really inefficient versus eating the plants yourself. So those three are the key motivations. I think for the majority of people, the climate is the most convincing for the bigger group, and especially at the moment where we have like real climate problems, or at least how people realize. Yeah.
Okay. So, are you on a vegan diet? And if so, when and why did you become vegan?
Yeah, good question. When I started to join my co-founder, that's 2.5 years ago, I was still eating animal ingredients, so meat, eggs, milk, everything. And because I also wanted to understand how the normal consumer group would be because the flexitarians, the majority of people, like I said, only 1 to 2% is vegan. But I started to experiment by cutting down meat, so I became a vegetarian in terms of diet. But sooner or later, I started to cut down all animal ingredients. And so for almost a year now, a bit longer, we don't eat any animal ingredients at all. And at the start, I felt more vital, really like I could do anything, really energetic. And now it's more like a normal way of life. And my motivation at the start was also performance based, but it has moved. Climate always, but also animal welfare. I can't even I don't even dare to eat meat again, and because it feels really terrible somehow. So yeah, almost longer than a year now.
Okay.
Do you target certain age groups when you advertise your company, or is it just for
Yeah,
everybody?
absolutely. We see a lot of so you're 15. Actually, at that age, we see a lot of girls becoming aware of the animal welfare stuff. So a lot of girls start at that age to become even younger with the motivation of animal welfare to start a vegetarian diet. Then the student group, they're not even becoming vegetarian; they directly become vegan, and because they realize the animal welfare is bigger, the climate problem is also created by the milk production, egg production, everything. So the younger audience is really aware. When I talk to my mom, and she's like 72, her generation is less aware, and they're more like, okay, I've always eaten meat in my life. Why should I cut down? And they get the thing of climate, but it's difficult to change behavior, especially when I look at myself. Like you set yourself objectives to change behavior, but in reality, it's only 5% of your objectives that you can change. So, and even on the food side, that's even harder. And but we see more and more people becoming, or at least I always say becoming vegan. I like to say adopting a vegan diet. Uh, yeah, and we target we've got a proposition, which is have you seen the website?
No, I'm
Yeah.
not.
No? Oh, you did, guys. And
Yeah.
so you might have seen that it's a meal with 100% natural ingredients. It's frozen, and you throw it literally in the pan, and then you start to stir fry for 8 minutes, and you've got a delicious meal. And when you start to cook and you want to create like vegan recipes, it's often difficult for people to start from scratch because they don't know where to start. They're so used to using milk or eggs or meat in the thing they create, and we make it easy for them to eat vegan. And we've added the lazy part because you don't have always time and fun to cook, or you're just too busy. And everyone wants to be lazy once in a while in the kitchen. So we've added the laziness to the vegan bit and came up with the name Lazy Vegan.
Okay. So on your website it says no animals, no soy, no hassle. What does the no soy mean?
The
Like
no
that
soy
part.
bit. Yeah, um, a lot of the meat substitutes. Do you sometimes eat meat substitutes?
No,
So a
I
fake
don't think.
burger or a fake sausage or
No.
not real meat. So most of them are produced with soy as an ingredient, and a lot of the vegan people, they eat a lot of soy because soy is used as an alternative for milk, as an alternative for meat. Um, and we've come across a lot of them, and they were so relieved that our product didn't have soy. We've got like a meat substitute, a chicken substitute, which is made of pea protein. So green peas, those little green peas, we take the protein out and we put it in some kind of meat texture, and it's really tasty, and it comes with a lot of protein because you need protein if you don't need meat. And so the noise soy bit comes from the fact that we love our own pieces, which are made of pea protein. But it has the benefit that a lot of vegans eat too much soy. And some of them, a tiny part of them, are soy allergic. And there is some climate issues with soy, because if you want to produce soy, you need to cut trees, because you need land to produce it. And but the bigger thing with soy is that because we eat so many cow, and we feed them with soy. If we cut down the meat consumption, especially cow, then we don't have to produce so many soy for the animals. So we have a lot of spare land over then, which we can use for soy, which we can consume ourselves. And so we pronounce that like no soy, because in the target group, it's a relief. Our product comes without soy.
How many times do you eat a meal from your company, like a week or a month?
It's when I'm in the company now with Corona, I'm eating more, working more from home, but usually I think every second day, and so 3 to 4 times a week as a lunch. Yeah. And we've got loads of them in the office, so that works. Yeah.
Okay. So how are the ready meals at Lazy Vegan prepared?
How they're prepared? Oh, that's a good question. So my co-founder, he's a really good chef in the kitchen, Vincent, and he loves to cook. And so he's combining different ingredients. He's creating like a sauce. And for instance, we've got a tikka masala meal, an Asian meal. And so he's composing those meals, and then we're testing them first ourselves and friends around us. And if everyone likes them, then we start to purchasing the different ingredients. And the ingredients come frozen. So after the harvest, they're directly frozen. And we compose them. They're all individual products, and they get together in a production location. And the thing we do there is pack them fully frozen, and then there's frozen transport to the supermarket. And when you buy it in the supermarket, you put it in your own freezer at home. And positive thing about the frozen element is that once you harvest vegetables and you directly freeze them, it's in terms of food waste, you can keep them for a long time, almost a year, a bit longer even. And so you can use them when you need it, and it's not perishable as fast as non-frozen stuff. So from a food waste perspective, it's also sustainable.
So how do you think it compares to like having a vegan diet, to like having your own farm where you just treat those animals well, and then at the end, like they die of old age, and then you like use them as food? Like, would it be as eco-friendly like to have a vegan diet, or run your own farm by yourself and use the plants there and animals there?
I'm not against farming at all, and I like I like animals, and I like little farms, and it sounds really romantic. And when I visit farms with my kids, I love it. And so keeping your own farms, like we did in the past, before agriculture started, is not per se negative or such. It's the overproduction that we've created with the growing population, and the monoculture. Also, farmers get more specialized in cows or in chicken or in pigs, and before they did a lot of activities on their own farm. They even created or produced vegetables. They had like chickens. They had like diverse range of activities, and that was more in balance. And there was also some circularity on farms. But that's really lost now in the current efficiency ambition over the last decades. I think it's, in the end, when you ask me like how does the future look like, I think there will be more green little local farms. It will be more in balance. More people will eat plant-based. Also organically grown vegetables. And when we all start to eat more plant-based, there's less land being used for cattle food. And so cows, we don't have to produce corn and soy for the cows and the pigs anymore. So it's far more efficient. We can give also a lot of land back to the wild, to wildlife. And you might have seen David Attenborough's documentary on Netflix. And the fast reduction of wildlife over the last decades is really terrible what's happening. And it's mainly due to us eating a lot of meat and using a lot of land to produce food for that specific cow and pigs. And it's not logic. And so I think it will be a combination of both, like getting more local and balanced farms with indeed a couple of chicken, a couple of cows, a couple of pigs, and also the farmer growing vegetables and planting trees and creating biodiversity on the farm in combination with a population that should be veganized. Otherwise, climate-wise, it's not going to work.
Okay. I know how you said that the food is instantly frozen after the harvest. Doesn't that consume energy and emit carbon?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and that's a choice we make in the process. And the thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna trace the CO2 impact from indeed like harvest to fork. And I haven't done that yet. But when you look at the food waste of normal grown vegetables and how that perishes over time and how fast it perishes over time, it might be more CO2 proof, but I still need to do the exercise. So that's an excellent question. Thanks for triggering that.
Okay.
So what advice do you have to other young people who want to become entrepreneurs like you in the future?
That's a good question. I think the thing is like education. I don't know what you guys are doing in terms of education, but it could move more to experimentation, learning by doing, research rather than just learn stuff which you don't practice. And I see a lot of educational systems moving also the direction of like, guys, come on, let's do experiments and try to start something that people might need or make impact. And so I already see your generation as being more entrepreneurial than mine. Also stimulated by the education system. I don't have one specific advice. The only advice I've got is like, don't feel influenced by what other people think of you. And don't start something because you think other people will like you then. Or join a company because other people will think positively about you. So don't think about what other people think of you, even if you have an unconventional idea or a stupid idea that you think is right. Follow your dreams and try it out. And if you fail fast. And so you learn and you can use those learnings again for the next experiment. And the world needs a lot of experiments because we've got a lot of problems to solve. And yeah, so don't be afraid and don't think about what other people think of you. Just do it. And it's easily said, uh, but yeah, try to be a bit unconventional and follow your dreams. That would be my advice.
Okay, so this is my last question. Who inspires you?
I think you do. And the fact that you're like 12 and 15 and calling like entrepreneurs and innovative people all over the world and asking them what they do and how they think, the level of curiosity is enormous. And I'm inspired by people that are curious and that do some kind of double click and have some kind of open mind and don't judge, but ask and try to understand, trying to listen and try to walk in the shoes of someone else for a while to understand how those other people think. And yeah, and I think the big trap is that at some stage in your life you might lose your open mind. And I think the people that don't, I feel inspired by those people, I think.
Okay, so Zayd, do you have any more questions?
No, that's it.
Okay, so I'm gonna end it off here. So thank you, Bas and Zayd, for the great discussion and for all the things that we learned today. And thank you, Abooters, for listening to this interview. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter and to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can hear about upcoming sessions with other change makers. Please also tell your friends about Aboot and share social media links with them. And last but not least, go to aboot.co to learn about opportunities to collect digital badges and help us draw down carbon.
Super cool.